Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. A 24-year-old Claremont man has faced court, accused of shaking his 11-week-old daughter so violently she's now in an induced coma in hospital. Staff at the Royal Hobart raised the alarm after the little girl was taken there earlier this week, suffering severe injuries. Rebecca Gaetaneris reports.
The baby girl remains at the Royal Hobart Hospital tonight in a serious condition with severe head injuries. Her 24-year-old father faced court today, charged with causing grievous bodily harm. The court heard he picked up the child at a home in Claremont when she was crying and shook her several times for around a minute. The man's lawyer said his client had grown frustrated with how agitated the baby was and that he wasn't able to settle her, saying she was crying for 20 minutes. Allegedly telling police he knew he shook her too many times. "I know it was forceful." The court also heard the accused consumed marijuana that night. He appeared teary from the dock at today's appearance and did not enter a plea. The hearing has been adjourned. He'll face court again on March 20.
State Labor has once again highlighted Tasmania's ballooning debt. Shadow Treasurer Josh Willey says borrowing costs will be more than $500 million by 2028.
We're talking around 1,500 nurses, 1,000 teachers, 600 police officers that could be employed instead of servicing Jeremy Rockcliffe's debt.
The government says it's continuing to plot a pathway back to surplus as outlined in its latest budget. Anti-salmon groups are calling for greater transparency about the toxicity of chunks of congealed fish oil, which have continued to wash up on beaches across the state. The EPA confirming it's likely due to a salmon mortality event, but is still awaiting a final lab report. Neighbours of fish farming say it's not oil at all.
It is a flesh-derived fatty substance and it's tissue from the animal, which therefore could carry contagion, it could carry bacteria.
What has happened, how many fish have died, where those fish are being disposed of, and what happens next.
Clean-up efforts are ongoing, the government reiterating there's a process underway to find out where the waste has come from. Australia's icebreaker RSV Noyina is preparing to set sail on its first dedicated marine science voyage. The vessel will undertake world-leading scientific research, visiting one of the most remote glaciers in Antarctica.
Nestled at its home port in Hobart, the RSV Noyina is being stocked for a huge undertaking many years in the making, preparing for a week-long voyage to East Antarctica's Denman Glacier.
It can contribute 1.5 metres to global sea level rise, so it's really important for us to understand what's happening on the glacier. 60
scientists on board will conduct round-the-clock scientific research, hoping to return with answers to some critical questions.
Understand the melting patterns and the implications for future sea level rise.
Seafloor mapping, water samples and the use of radar monitors, just a few of the tools scientists on board will use to learn more about the glacier and its surroundings.
We have another team who's going to use the wet well from the Noyina. It will be collecting live zooplankton.
Seals also lending a helping hand, or flipper, all in the name of ocean research.
We can put sensors on their heads now, and they can go to places where some of our boats and floats cannot go.
A lot of that's fairly poorly charted, unsurveyed waters.
It's also being used as a chance to learn more about the creatures lurking on the ocean floor.
We will certainly be expecting new species, almost certainly from this area.
The expedition made possible thanks to a cash injection from the federal government.
This includes a $17.6 million additional investment to expand our science efforts in Australia.
But it'll be no holiday for those on board, with the vessel expected to operate on a 24-hour schedule.
We're all very keen to just maximise the opportunity and make the most of the time available.
Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmanian News.
Let's go to Devonport now, where Nick Kelly is trackside for the start of the Spirit of Tasmania cycling tour. Nick, this year's race is a little different.
Well, for starters, Kim, this year we're starting off with the Criterium here in Devonport, which I think is my favourite event. Always promises plenty of action and usually a nice, good sprint finish. The race also joins the Pro Velo Super League, a brand new event this year. Someone who's probably far better qualified to talk about this is Olympic gold medalist Scott McGrory, who's also the race director. Scott, we're well into the race at the moment. What's your take so far?
Well, so far so good. Perfect conditions here in Devonport, I must say. Slightly cool, which is great for the riders. Perfect circuit. And we'll probably see the Spirit of Tasmania go out behind us in a moment. So we're halfway through the women's race. We've got the men's race still coming. And so far, it's all been contained and looking really good.
And a slightly different route this year, but still, plenty of that classic challenging hilly conditions that we love.
Well, this race, Tour of Tasmania, over the years has always produced incredible talent, right? It is so difficult, as everybody knows, out the back. Once you go off the coast, it's so hilly. Richie Port, of course, is a previous winner of this. If you win this race, you are a fair income, decent bike rider, and that's what we're expecting here again. And fantastic courses over the next couple of days. Sheffield, there's a time trial also at Latrobe, and then we go up into the Highlands for the big mountaintop finish. So we will see legitimate riders crowned on Sunday at the end of this.
Excellent. Thanks very much for your time, Scott. I appreciate it. And Kim, we're about halfway through the women's cry at the moment, so hopefully by the next time you see me, we'll have a winner crowned. I'll also be back with the rest of today's sports news.
Okay, we'll see you then. Thanks, Nick. Firefighters on the west coast are bracing for another weekend of high fire danger, with soaring temperatures set to hit parts of the state. Recent cool conditions have helped stop the spread of sun blazes, but there are fears winds and the heat will spark more.
More than 2 weeks on the defence, battling dozens of blazes, and the fight is still not over, with increased temperatures raising alarm bells.
Warmest day will be Saturday. We're expecting temperatures to reach up into around the low 30s. Launceston we're expecting 32, Hobart 30, and over on the west coast it will be around 29 to 30 degrees.
This week's cooler conditions bringing some reprieve for crews on the front line.
Not seen a significant increase in fires. It's still at around 94,000 hectares across the whole complex of fires.
But Mother Nature could add fuel to the fire over the coming days.
That increase in wind speeds and the warm conditions that's coming with it will lead to an increase in the fire dangers during the weekend.
More than 140 firefighters remain on the ground, while 18 aircraft are continuing the fight above, with more resources on standby.
As we lead into this fire weather tomorrow and Sunday, we'll have stand-up strike teams in the Midlands and additional aircraft at strategic locations across the state.
Meanwhile, authorities are remaining optimistic about the reopening of the overland track, scheduled for Monday.
From an infrastructure perspective, we are confident that we will have a safe and traversable track available for the public.
A cool front is expected on Sunday, but the Weather Bureau warns we're not out of the danger zone yet.
See total falls around 5 to 15 millimetres with those showers, so while that may help a little, it's unlikely to be enough to make a significant impact on such big fires.
Locals urge to remain alert as firefighters prepare for what's to come. Rebecca Gaitanero, 7 Tasmanian News.
Almost 9 years after devastating floods claimed the lives of 3 people in Tasmania, a coroner has handed down a report into their deaths. Mary Alford, Trevor Foster and Peter Watson drowned in separate incidents in June 2016. While Coroner Simon Cooper was satisfied their deaths were caused by a catastrophic natural event, he highlighted mistakes made by the North West SES prior to the flood, saying little to no preparation was made and the region's incident controller did nothing to respond to the unfolding emergency. The report acknowledged significant improvements have since been made to Tasmania's emergency services. The Jack Jumpers playing future in the north has been secured, with the Silverdome to undergo long overdue upgrades. An additional multi-million-dollar cash injection is being thrown at the ageing stadium to bring it up to scratch in time for next season.
He might have missed the shot, but the Sports Minister is scoring big, splashing an extra $4 million towards the Silverdome.
We'll see increased seating capacity here at the venue, we'll see better lighting, we'll see better replay screens, we'll see, importantly, better change room facilities.
The cash top-up brings the total spend to $12 million, meeting the demands of the Tasmanian Jack Jumpers, who previously threatened to scratch future fixtures.
This will lock in Jack Jumpers game in the north of the state. This facility will be able to meet the standard that the Jack Jumpers need.
We look forward to the Jackies coming here and actually winning a game, not having to bring their own hoops and looking at the floor and really chucking that salt over the shoulder and getting a bit of that voodoo out of here.
The funding boost, not just a win for the JJs, grassroots groups also cashing in.
Investment in this space is so important for netball's growth, netball's sustainability.
Any investment in courts and indoor court sports is great because the market's so smashed, there's not enough space.
And it could spell the return of the Silver Dome's glory years when it attracted some of the world's biggest names, from Tina Turner in the 90s to a glitter-filled night with Elton John in 2012.
If Elton is keen to come back, we'd love to have him.
Victoria Easto, 7 Tasmanian News.
We all love a bargain, but tomorrow in Moona it's going to be for a good cause too. Fashion Frenzy is set to go ahead for the first time in Hobart's northern suburbs. The Dress for Success initiative giving women a chance to purchase low-cost, good quality work clothes.
We do know that transport and accessibility is an issue for some women to get into the city, so we're very excited to be able to make this sale accessible to women in this part of the community.
This is really good because it's not just about the fashion, it's about giving women confidence to get on with that next stage of their life. And they get help with writing a resume and connections to jobs, which is the part I love.
100 tickets have already been sold, with all items priced at $5. A potentially life-saving vessel is operational at our waters, a new inflatable rescue boat for Launceston, helping with routine patrolling, water safety and search and rescue operations.
We need these boats not only for being quick and active. If we've got a boat on the tow race, it's only like 5 minutes to anywhere.
The Albo, the vessel, has been jointly funded by the federal government, local council and community groups. A peak union warns 36,000 public servant jobs would be slashed if Peter Dutton's coalition wins the upcoming federal election. The CPSU says a flow-on effect of job cuts would mean a lack of access to essential services.
Well, it means that you'll have worse services. It means that you'll have people who have less expertise. It'll mean a hollowing out of the corporate knowledge of the public service.
In response, Shadow Minister for the Public Service Jane Hume says a Dutton government would focus on creating an efficient public service that Australians expect and require. 4 new guide dog puppies are embarking on a special adventure as they prepare for a career looking after some of Tasmania's most vulnerable. The birth officially marks retirement for mum Frida, but not before 8 intense weeks raising her new babies.
It's hard work being a mum of 4 puppies this cute.
Mum does all the work. I'm just there to supervise. You right there?
5-year-old Frida's 3rd and final litter full of beans. Carer Tracy helping babysit for the next 8 weeks. Sleepless nights and lots of cuddles helping them grow from this to this.
You look at them and they're 500 grams when they're born. To watch them like this at the moment, it's just amazing to watch. And knowing in 3 weeks' time they're about to go to puppy raises to do something else.
While it's play and nap time 24/7, it won't be long before these future guide dogs get started on some very important training.
People with no or low vision, we've got assistance dogs supporting families and children with autism, and we've got our facility and companion dog programs.
Artie here's one of 11 puppies that Frida's had over her lifetime. And while she might be in retirement now, she's still going to be pretty busy helping to train the next generation of little guide dogs. The group looking to continue expanding its breeding program, which started in the midst of COVID. But to do that, it needs help.
So if there are people out in the community that are interested in rearing and raising some of these little pups from the day one and looking after a brood stock in their home full time, please reach out to us.
Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
Breaking down barriers on and off the sporting field is a goal of a new program aiming to increase participation among women and girls from culturally and linguistically diverse backgrounds. Women United is designed to encourage stronger community connections and spruik the health benefits of being active.
Sport is so important in the way that it can bind groups together, people together. It can grow social networks.
This is a fantastic opportunity for us to reach out to the community and engage.
The $430,000 program will be rolled out statewide, first focusing on basketball and soccer.
Welcome back to the waterfront at Devonport, where we're kicking off this year's Spirit of Tasmania cycling tour. The women's criterium has been run and won. Victorian Keely Bennett crossing first in a nail-biting sprint finish a few moments ago. The men's race is just about to get underway. Well, a lacklustre start from the Tigers openers had their hopes of playing a fourth straight WNCL final on shaky ground. Luckily, skipper Elise Villani led from the front in their day-nighter against Victoria at Ninja Stadium, smashing 12 boundaries to make 110 off 104 balls before being bowled on the second last ball of the innings. 259, that's Tasmania's target set. Victoria are currently at the crease, mounting their reply. Molly Strano taking an early wicket to set things off on the right note. The Victorians still need 119 runs with 7 wickets in hand. Meanwhile in Adelaide, Tassie left the hard work up to the tail on the final day of the Shield. Bo Webster doing his best to keep the runs ticking over before he ran out of partners, but in the end it was him who'd go, falling victim to his own slogfest.
Webster goes for another 6. He's batted so well in this innings. Neiman runs back with the fly. It bobbles. He catches it on the second go.
Tasmania falling 88 runs short of the Sackers. Well, the SFL is ready for takeoff in 2025. Club captains checking in with new league sponsor Hobart Airport a month and a half out from the very first bounce. After a turbulent season last year, the Demons have been hard at it this pre-season, facing a tough opponent in the opener.
Really solid block of effort at the moment, coming up to our practice games and leading into hopefully a really exciting round 1 clash at North Hobart against Kingborough.
The New York Premier League season, which welcomes Brighton to the ranks, begins on April 5. Jack jumper Fabian Krislovic has landed 9 points plus 4 assists on his Boomers debut against Indonesia, running out in the starting 5 alongside Northwester Jacob Furphy, who scored 3. As the Australians kept their perfect Asian Cup qualifying record alive with a 109 to 58 point victory.
For the assist, Grisby with the flush.
Australia faces Thailand on Sunday afternoon in their final qualifier before the tournament in Saudi Arabia later this year. And the men's top seed survived an early scare in this afternoon's Burnie International quarter-final. Aussie Omar Jasika losing the first set to Kiwi Ajit Ray before regaining control to win 4-6, 6-3, 6-3. He goes on to play Korean Hyung Chung in tomorrow's semi-final. And Kim, we are just about to begin the men's criterium here at Devonport. Any viewers watching from Devonport tonight, come down and check it out. There's still plenty of action ahead.
There will be, and tomorrow it will be hot, hot, hot out there for the race too. Thank you very much, Nick. Well, Kai Wicks will have all the details about the weather after the break.
Good evening. Hobart recorded 22 today, 23 in Launceston, Devonport and Burnie both 20 degrees. 24 was the high at both Friendly Beaches and Ooze, Grove 23, King Island and St Helens 22. 21 on Flinders Island, Smithton, Lowhead, Laiwini and Strawn, Maria Island 20 degrees. We saw patchy cloud about the state, however that cleared this afternoon. High cloud visibly cleared Tasmania and the Bight, associated with a ridge of high pressure. Tomorrow, high pressure system lies to the east of Tasmania, extending a ridge over the mainland. North to northeasterly winds 15 to 25 knots, increasing upward of 30 knots in the northwest, with southwesterly swells at 2.5 metres. There is a strong wind warning for coastal waters between Low Rocky Point to Stanley and the east of Flinders Island. That extends also between Wineglass Bay to Southeast Cape to include Frederick Henry, Norfolk and Storm Bay. Perfect summer conditions in the south tomorrow, 29 in Hobart, 31 at Medina and 30 at Oatlands. Those sunny conditions extend to the north, the mercury tipped to hit 32 in Launceston, 26 at Devonport and 23 at Laiwini. Fine in Burnie with 25, mostly sunny but becoming windy at Strawn 30 and much the same at Marrawal with 27. St Helens partly cloudy, 26, remaining warm and sunny for the remainder of the east though, 29 at Swansea and Orford 27. Morning showers extending statewide on Sunday, with possible thunderstorms firing up about the northwest and the south. Monday, fine apart from showers about the west, easing and contracting to the southwest in the evening. And on Tuesday, fine apart from possible showers about the south. Now, if you're heading interstate tomorrow, here's the forecast for Saturday. Cloud clearing in Perth, 26, warming up in Melbourne, 36, hot 2 in Adelaide with 38, but they will welcome a cool evening change.
That is all we have time for tonight. Murph will be with you over the weekend. Thanks for joining us this week. For now, it is good night.